this video, I'm going to demonstrate basic CVP analysis. So with CVP analysis, we're changing some element, maybe one, maybe more than one thing of either cost, variable and or fixed, volume, how many units we're selling, or profit, which could also include the selling price. We want to start out with where do we project we're going to be at? And the original projection is we're going to sell 3,750 units. Original projection is the selling price would be $430 per unit. Variable cost per unit would be $190. And our fixed costs in total for the year would be $624,000. Now, I may set up calculating this original operating profit a little bit differently. I'm taking a shortcut here, and sometimes for quiz and exam, that's nice to shave off some time, is instead of multiplying the selling price times the number of units and then subtracting variable cost times the number of units, I'm just taking a shortcut. I'm saying, what's the contribution margin per unit? That's what each unit is contributing. The selling price of $430 minus the variable cost of $190 means each unit would contribute $240. Times the 3,750 units would give us total contribution margin dollars. To get profit, now we only need to subtract out the fixed cost of $624,000, meaning our initial projection is operating profit of $276,000. And CVP analysis says, how does that change? What's the what if scenario? Well, what if the selling price goes down by 20%? Selling price goes down, contribution margin per unit goes down, ultimately operating profit goes down, but let's figure out by how much. How does our selling price change? $430 times 80%. Why 80%? Because our selling price is going down by 20%. 100% minus 20% means it's only 80% of what it was originally. That times $430 means our new selling price is only $344. Similar to what I did before, selling price now is $344 minus the original variable cost of $190, meaning each unit now is only contributing $154 times the 3,750 gets us the new total contribution margin dollars minus the fixed cost of $624,000 means we're no longer earning a profit, we're earning a loss of $46,500. How much is profit changing? Well, if we're now losing $46,500 and we've lost all our original profit of $276,000, it means our operating profit went down by a tremendous amount, $322,500. What if, on the other hand, our selling price stayed the same, but our variable cost decreased by 10%? So let's think about this. If variable cost goes down, contribution margin per unit goes up, meaning operating profit goes up, but up by how much? So our selling price is going to stay the same, but variable cost is going to go down by 10%. So I just shortcutted this and said if it goes down by 10%, it's only going to be 90% of what it originally was, times 190 means the new variable cost per unit is 171. The selling price is still 430 minus the new variable cost of 171 means each unit is now contributing a greater amount, not 240 but 259 times 3,750 units gives us total contribution margin dollars minus the original fixed cost of $624,000 means now our operating profit will be $347,250. To figure out how much it changes by, subtract out the original operating profit of $276,000 means this is a good thing. Our profit is going up by $71,250. Our last point here is, what if we change more than one thing? That gets more complicated. In this scenario, our fixed cost is going to decrease by 20%, which would be a good thing, means operating profit goes up. But on the other hand, variable cost is going to go up by 10%, which would be a bad thing. So I don't know, are these going to counteract each other? Is the fixed cost savings enough? We're going to have to take a look. So let's look at this. Our operating profit, again, I'm going to focus on contribution margin per unit first. Our original selling price is staying the same at $430, but now I'm not subtracting a variable cost per unit of $190. We're actually increasing it by 10%, which is why I'm multiplying that times 110%. That would bump up our variable cost per unit to $209. That subtracted from our selling price of $430 would give us a new contribution margin dollars per unit of $221. That times 3,750 units gives us total contribution margin dollars. Notice that I've also adjusted the fixed cost. Subtracting out the fixed cost, they're no longer 624,000. I'm going to multiply it times 80% because I'm losing 20% of it, which brings it down to 499,200. All told, subtracting contribution margin or subtracting the fixed costs from the contribution margin dollars means our operating profit would be 329,550. Subtracting the original operating profit of 276,000 means in this scenario we had enough savings from our fixed costs to compensate for our increase in variable costs that our operating profit would increase by $53,550.